Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Champ Chat. I am here, the blue bastard, the one and only. I am actually joined by Aaron and Paddy, but they're hiding, I think, right now.
Hello, everybody. We're back.
We're alive. We're here. It's happening. Champ Chat. Let's go.
You're lucky you didn't catch me singing Champ Chat as it started.
Yeah, I
Hey,
do that. I do that too.
It's catchy, isn't it? I like that one. That's a good one. That's my favorite one for sure. All right. So, well, what are we getting into, boys? Wrexham lost. That sucks. Blues got a draw. How you feeling about that draw? Or were you up on it or down on it?
I was up on it, in all fairness.
I kind of thought you might be. I know you, behind the scenes look. The thumbnail was made by Josh, and I was like, actually, I think that was a good result for him. To be fair.
I'll be honest. I mentioned it to Ken. I did tip us to win because I thought off the back of two victories, I thought, well, fancy us, probably heart over head. And then I think it was 2 minutes into the game, and the commentator went, Swansea have won the last 4 on the bounce at home. And I was just like, oh, we're not getting anything today. all my positivity just gone. Absolutely gone. So, yeah. But, no, it was a good point, actually.
Yeah, here he's listed. Went 2-footed into John on that thumbnail. Oh, shoot. Yes. All right. Okay. So I guess we'll start. We'll get into the fixtures from the weekend. We'll kind of do a recap on that and see what everybody thought of how the weekend went. Here we go. Okay. So started on Friday night. From what I've heard, I didn't get to watch it. Sounded like a cracker of a game. West Brom 2, Middlesbrough 3. Did either of you guys get to watch the game?
I did, yes.
What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was a really good game. I thought it was very clear. For me, personal opinion, Middlesbrough looked by far the better side of the two. Yeah. And but a credit to West Brom to essentially come back from the dead, to get back into the game. So
yeah.
But no, it was a really enjoyable game. Actually, did enjoy it.
Yeah. I kind of listened to. I listened to parts of it, and then I was kind of trying. I was at work while it was on, so I didn't get to really watch it too close. But yeah, it seemed pretty exciting. Middlesbrough managed to get a late winner. I think what was it, 90th minute? I think, if I remember right.
It was late. The one thing I would say is they were deserved winners.
Mm-hmm.
As credit to West Brom to coming back from 2-0 down and all that. The right side won the game.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I did. I know we wanted to touch on Ramsey, who was Eric Ramsey. Is that right? New coach for West Brom. What'd you think of him? When I think they went to a 3 at the back, did that surprise you? Did that? How do you think it worked out for him? What was your thoughts on it?
That to me or Paddy?
You because you watched the game.
All right. Yeah, no. It was interesting. I read a little bit about him before the game, and his previous MLS club, they tended to be a little bit low block, counter attack, sit deep behind the ball. So I did expect them to be a little bit more organised, shall we say, a bit more resolute, which they were. I do think he's still. I think he's going to have the same problems that Mason had, which is I just look where they're going to create goals from. That's the thing. I'm not convinced in the front line, and they got that Hegebo up front who I think looks a handful, but they don't have the creators around that look to me like they're creating an awful lot of chances. And I'm not convinced his managerial style will do anything to change that because, like I said, I think he's a bit defensive. But the one thing I would say, whether it was new manager bouncing out, I thought the setup and the attitude of the team, I think it's probably one of the better performances I've seen from a West Brom side in recent weeks, which you would expect with the new manager.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was. 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 Yeah, just looking through the stats real quick, it definitely looks like they were pretty direct. Despite only having 43% of the ball and only having 348 accurate passes to 488 for Middlesbrough, they still managed to get 3 more total shots. They had 12-9, and then one more shot on target, 6-5. Same amount of big chances, and they both missed one chance. So, they were, despite the fact they didn't have the ball a lot, they were able to get the ball, in the business end. It seemed like, you know what I mean. At least going by the stats, like I said, I was listening to the game. I didn't get to really watch it too much, but yeah.
Yeah, looking at the momentum chart there, it was all West Brom in that second half, especially after they got their goal. Did Middlesbrough sit back and soak pressure, or what were they trying to do in the second half? Because it looks really poor compared to the first half.
I'll be honest, it felt a little bit like they went 2-0 up and believed their own hype and thought the game was won a little bit. And to be fair, West Brom didn't look like troubling that. They were not causing trouble, but you didn't really feel a goal was coming, shall we say? And then when that first goal went, it just seemed to obviously give West Brom a huge lift. And I won't say Middlesbrough fell apart; it just kind of shocked them, and they didn't recover. But it was weird. Well, I say weird, but when it went to 2-2, there was only one side that wanted to win the game from that point, and that was Middlesbrough, which I was a little bit surprised about, because I thought once you get it back to 2-2, you're at home, new manager, home. I kind of sat there and went, they're going to nick this, they're going to find something from somewhere. But it was kind of the opposite for me. As soon as that equaliser went in, it felt like it was just all Middlesbrough then. They seemed to just kind of find their mojo again.
But that's what the reason I asked that question is because it's the same old story of you cannot soak that much pressure in the Championship. Teams are just good enough to get through you. They're too quick, they're too good on their passing. And they'll break you somewhere. Even weaker teams who, in theory, you might think you can dominate, can get a counter, as well when you're not rushing that out.
Yeah, 2-0 is always a dangerous scoreline, isn't it? Because it's always that next goal. If the opposition get it's 2-1, it's game on. If Middlesbrough would have got a third sometime in that early of that second half, that's it. That's game over then. So.
But isn't that the argument we keep bringing up? Is kill the match off. Don't sit back at 2-0. Go and get your third goal, and then that's it. It's almost impossible to come back from 3 because teams are just too good then. But they got away with it. They got their final goal to pull it back. Fair play to them, and that's why they're up in the top 2.
Yeah.
Good with that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Coventry City 2, Leicester City 1. Were you guys surprised? I wasn't. I thought, actually, maybe surprised that seemed a little more of a tougher job for Coventry than it ended up being. I don't know. What'd you guys think?
Coventry seem to be fighting for their wins. They don't always look amazing. We talk about them. They have a very good, strong team. They're not completely dominating all these matches, but they are pulling out the points. When it is needed, they get there. They don't seem to fall apart in the same way as other teams do. But they drag out those wins and they're climbing. Coventry, sorry. I was thinking of Ipswich there. That's my sickness. I mixed up the two. But yeah, Coventry have looked bad, but they're pulling out the wins, or at least getting something.
Yeah. They went down early. Jordan James scores a goal in the 10th minute. And really doesn't look like, it looks like they had a decent spell, if going by the momentum tracker, decent spell in the second part of the first half. But then, and then by halftime, they kind of took over. They did get their goal back on 47 minutes in the right at the beginning of the second half, LSM scores a goal, and then they get the winner from Hadji Wright at 85 minutes. So, it took them a while to get that last or the winning goal, but worked out for them in the end. I mean, like you said, it does seem like they've struggled a little bit. That was a big win. They needed that. You know what I mean? Because if they didn't win that one at home, you start to worry a little bit. Because they've not been on a great run of form, and not that Leicester's not been world beaters. Let's be honest. So you'd like to think they could win that game. So yeah, I think when you're in a promotion battle, I mean, we've seen it with us last year, and the year before. You just got to find ways to win games, And I mean, they've put themselves in a really good position. I mean, they're out in front, so they got a little leeway. But to pull out some games like that, that's what they're gonna have to do to stay in that top two, because Middlesbrough got to win. I think the top five, all the teams that are in the top five right now, all won this weekend. So I think that's the story of the weekend, is the good teams were won. So they're going to try to separate themselves, and if you don't, you could easily get left behind or caught in Coventry's case, because they're 6 points ahead at the moment. So they definitely are coming back to the pack, I guess, because they were 12 points ahead at one point, I think, if I remember. I think it was the most they were out. So that's been cut in half. So yeah, they need to get back on form if they're going to stay out front. And then really Ipswich got a game in hand. So if they win their game in hand, they could go 5 points behind, so that, just that much more pressure. But yeah, so let's move on. Let's go to the next one. Ipswich 3, Blackburn 0. Anybody surprised by that? I wasn't necessarily. I think I tipped a 2-0. What do you guys think?
I was disappointed Blackburn didn't get a goal because I predicted 3-1. But no, I think that Ipswich side now are really starting to hit their straps, aren't they? They look especially at home, they look a really dangerous side. And to be fair, I mean, can you read too much into it? I mean, Blackburn, let's be honest, it's a Blackburn side on its arse right now with the injuries and everything going on. So, the last place you want to go as any team probably is Ipswich away, let alone when you're in the position Blackburn are in. So, dare I say, if you were being a harsh, honest Blackburn fan, would you have taken 3-0 and not get utterly embarrassed at the start of the day? Possibly. No one likes to get beat, especially 3-0, but the way that Ipswich side are going and the problems at Blackburn, if that had ended like 5 or 6 or something daft like that, I don't think anyone would have been utterly shocked.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
We've seen numbers like that already this season. It's
No, for sure. All right, let's move on. Watford 0, Millwall 2. This one surprised me. Watford are very hard to beat at home. And to go down by 2 goals to Millwall, who I don't think have been fantastic on the road. I may be talking about out of my hind end there, but I don't think they've been really good away from home. That's a big win for them. That's really impressive. And they've got Coventry, I think, tomorrow, which could be even more important, I think. So, because they're trying to insert themselves into that top 2 discussion, and they're not far off it. Surprise. What do you guys think, Patty?
Yeah, a little bit surprising, but personally, I'm delighted with the result. Anybody who is in around it needs to get a kick in from time to time just to keep it even. I'm pretty much of the opinion now at this point that Middlesbrough, Ipswich, and Coventry can take their points off everybody except us. Let them beat everybody around us, keep the scores down for everybody else, and will keep in about it.
What do you think of that one, John?
I was a little bit surprised as well, like you said, because Watford at home. I think I backed a draw actually in that game. I thought a draw. I almost thought a draw would probably favour both sides, especially when you're in that top six hunt and you're playing one of the sides in the top six. I think both those sides would have gone at the start of the day. Just don't lose ground to them. If we take a draw, I think both sides would have been happy. For Millwall to come away with an away win, that's huge for them. Especially if, like you said, they've got Coventry next. That's a massive plus point for them. But by all intensity, it was a very tight game. But it looks like Millwall just took the chances, to be honest. Which, hey, if you want to be in the top six, that's what you got to do. You got to just be clinical at the right times.
Yep, for sure. I think I tipped it 2-0 the other way, actually. So, yeah, I had it bass backwards. All right, let's move on. Charlton Athletic 1, Sheffield United 0. 2 red cards for Sheffield United, and the 2 in the first half, I believe, too. So yeah, that one pretty much was Charlton got their goal, and that was it. You know what I mean? It was get your goal after. I think they were up. I think it was a 11v9 when they got their goal, and then pretty much shut it down by the sounds of it. That's gotta be disappointed to go down a man and then to go down 2 men. That's, I mean, that gotta be frustrating. I know I did see there was a little, maybe the second red card was a little harsh. I don't know. I've not seen it, so I'm not going to really comment on it. But I mean, you'd think if you're down a man, you probably shouldn't be doing anything to get yourself anywhere near another one. You know what I mean? So, maybe a little smarter play would have been in order there. But any thoughts on that one, guys? I mean, pretty straightforward.
It's a Charlton special, really.
Yeah.
They lucked out on that one. They had almost zero possession until the red cards, and then came back out after half time and basically dominated the second half and could only manage 1 goal. They had 3 big chances as well in the notes there. So the 2 red cards are Sumer and Tanganga. Now, am I wrong that they're actually decent players for them that they would preferably want?
Samari, I think, is a bit of a bit part player. I think he only comes in occasionally. I don't think he's a normal starter. Tanganga's their captain, so that's. But I think it'll be 3 game bans for both of them. So it's because Samari, of course, that was a stonewall red card. I don't think there was any malice. He was just very late, studs, and it was above the ankle, so it's a red card all day long. Like you said, Aaron, the Tanganga one, I thought the old school in me says it's a yellow card.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is with the Tang. I mean, he's given it for an elbow because he's gone up for a header, and he's given it for an elbow on a guy. Now, the thing I would say is I think he's almost done himself. Because the first red card, he was apparently one of the real vocal ones in the referee's face about the red card. So he was frustrated and unhappy about the first red card.
Mm-hmm.
So I know referees don't think about it, but it's one of those where you give the referee a decision to make. And it's one of those, in old school, the way I think, it's a yellow card. Unfortunately, I think in this day and age, if the referee sees it the way at the angle he did, I don't think they've appealed it, which I think says it all.
It's interesting. Okay. Anything else on that one, guys, or we'll move on?
We can move on, but Sheffield United, I was watching some podcasts this week again, and they're still talking about Sheffield United getting the playoffs, and I'm like, are you nuts?
I don't think so. There's just too much traffic. You know what I mean? And the run they'd have to go on, and the poor form that everybody else would have to have for them to pass all the team. I just don't see it happening.
Still saying, no, we can do 2 points a match. We can do 2 points per game, and we can get there. And you're like, not with the lead people have ahead of you. Not a chance.
They're not capable of doing 2 points a game. That's the Sheffield United team of last season. Yeah, absolutely. But I let's be honest, the Sheffield United this season is minus Gus Harmer playing well. Gus Harmer was the best player in the league last season. You know, he's barely been good enough to start games for them this season, and it makes a hell of a difference. They're a different side without him in that regard. So, yeah, it's like, yeah, is it possible they could get top six still? Yeah, absolutely. But yeah.
But they better go on a hell of a run to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, you just don't see that side going on a run. And I've listened to a few podcasts as well, and I think the problem. Oh, I said the problem. I think the thing with the Sheffield United one is, I think a lot of people put more faith in Chris Wilder than they actually do the Sheffield United players. I think if Chris Wilder wasn't the manager, there's no way there would be any talk for top six. I think it's purely because he is there as a manager that there is this weird sort of, well, it's Chris Wilder, you know, he can do miraculous things with utter rubbish. So there's always a possibility.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement there. Let's move on. Oxford United 0, Bristol City 0. Good result for Oxford, I'd say.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd like to nick one there at home. You think you get a goal, but I think right now, if any points they can get, they'll be happy with. I would think. Does look like they had the most of the chances though. I actually did see I did see one of the big chances. It was what's his name? Lancashire, Will Lancashire. I was flipping. This happened right when our game went to the timeout for the fan in the stands. I started flipping around, checking other games, and I happened to switch to this game. And just as he missed one from almost point blank and put it wide, and I thought, oh, that was a big one. They needed that one, so they definitely could have won that game. And I only watched maybe that 10 minutes or 5 minutes or so of it, but yeah, it was. I think 0-0's a good result for them. Bristol's a team up and around the playoffs, so to get a result against them, I think is good. You guys got anything else on that one?
Bristol are an odd one for me. I know they've been pulling out okay results as it goes, but they're very hot and cold in general. But look, teamwork. They keep pushing and they're pulling their points.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make playoffs.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think they will. I think that they're going to slide it a little bit more at some point.
Yeah, I generally agree with that. Yeah, they are a weird team. But there's a lot of teams. Let's be honest. There's a lot of teams that are like that. Just they get on a decent run, and you think, okay, maybe they do something, and then they just fall off, and it just doesn't, just not working.
I think the other thing you have to take into consideration is now we're sort of getting to the, like you said, 19 games to go now, whatever it is. Oxford, this is going to sound daft, but Oxford will be looking at the fixture list and probably counting how many home games they've got left this season and saying if they want to survive, which is unlikely as it looks like it possibly could be, their points are going to come from home games. So they'll be targeting every single home game. So, those teams down the bottom will be doing that now because, like we said, 19 games left. Some of them won't have a huge amount of home fixtures left. So everyone that comes around is a potential 3 points, isn't it? No matter who you're playing against.
Yeah.
Okay. Preston 0, Derby 1. Big win for Derby. Going away and winning at Preston. They needed that one to try to keep themselves in the playoff hunt. So they're risking, they're at risk of falling away. So they got a big win. I believe, without looking at the table, oh, no, it didn't quite. I was thinking that dropped Preston out of the playoffs. It didn't. They're still at 6th. But, yeah, it's a big win for Derby. I believe it was Ajimong got the goal. I think that's his. I think somebody said it was his 10th goal contribution of the season. So again, continues to prove me to be an idiot. So, but yeah, he's doing well for them. So, um, yeah,
I think
that's
the thing that when that result came in, I was a little bit surprised. I was like, really, Derby winning? And
yeah.
then I looked at the away. If you look at the away table this season, Derby are the third best team in the league away from home this season, which surprised me.
That's impressive.
They must be at this stage playing without pressure. You know, they've racked up so many points. They're still high enough in the league. The chance of them going on a disastrous run for the remainder of the season and even being near the relegation battle is extremely small.
Mm.
So they have to be really positive, you know, about where they are. And they know they're not going to win every match. So if they can just shrug off their losses, but are still fighting for every single match and know they have the chance of getting on a counter and beating any team in the league, they're going to pull more points.
Yeah.
They know it's highly unlikely they're going to make playoffs. You know, I don't think they can go on a run strong enough to sustain that. But they're going to be a tough team for the remainder of the season.
To put it in context, Coventry have got the most points away from home this season with 23. Derby have got 21 points on the road this season. Which, when I saw that, I was kind of like, fair play. I did not see that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Because that leaves them with what, 17 points at home?
Yeah.
21 away and only 17 at home. That's wild. Pretty crazy there. All right. Let's move on. Sheffield Wednesday lost 0-1 against Portsmouth. Portsmouth get their goal, get the win. Kind of expected it. By the looks of it, they've pretty well dominated it. Wednesday only got one shot on target out of 7 total shots. Portsmouth had 12 total shots, 3 on target. It was Adrian Segicic who got the goal in the 65th minute to win it. And I don't think that's, not surprising, would have been a really poor result not to get a win there. I think Wednesday they've only won one game, I think, so far this season. I think that was against Portsmouth, if I remember right. I think it was the first time they played them. Yeah. So yeah, that's good for Portsmouth. They needed that. That kept them out of the relegation zone. Of course, we'll get onto that a little bit later. Talking about the top and bottom of the table in the playoff hunt. Southampton 1, Hull City 2. Big result for Hull City. I think that was an important one for them, I think.
Southampton are in the shitter.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
Yeah, that's a big talking point. We'll go through that later.
Yeah, we'll get on to that.
But Hull keeps pulling it off. They really are. And I've been saying about Hull for quite a while, they're not going to sustain this. But they have a really formidable team. They didn't go big money-wise in the summer. But the loan moves and the cheaper moves that they made in the summer have really paid off for them. They don't always, you're really taking a gamble if you're kind of doing that, but they've really pulled it off this year. I'm impressed. Yeah. They've got to have like the cheapest team per point in the league this year, maybe.
They were definitely a team that earlier in the season they were very streaky. It was win a couple here, lose a couple there. It was you weren't sure which team you were going to get. Here lately, though, over their last 7 games, They've only lost one of those. They drew one of those and they won the rest. So they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 out of their last 7. So that's a pretty decent run for Hull. And then they got a big one tomorrow. They've got Preston. So that's going to be a big match, with important playoff implications there. Of course, that'll kind of, they'll look to try to push themselves away from that, that last spot of the playoffs, and try to get themselves solidly into them. Of course, we got a long way to go, but still, you want to try to gain some points on those teams behind you. So yeah, a really good result for them. Again, I didn't get to watch the game, but I was surprised. I don't know if I was surprised. I don't know if surprised is the right word. I didn't expect it. I think I tipped a Southampton win, probably. Can't remember for sure. But yeah, it was definitely a surprise for me, though, that Hull managed to go to there and get a result. But yeah, as you say, and we'll talk about it later, Southampton's got some serious issues they're going to have to be figuring out, because they've got way too good of a squad to be where they're at, I think. But, that's why we play the games, I guess. Anything else on that one, guys?
I think we just need to give a bit of credit to the whole manager, because I think pretty much most of the first half of the season, I think we all sort of said, well, Hollow, they look like they can score 2-3 goals, but they also look like they can concede 2-3 goals. I have to give credit to the manager that in probably the last, I would say, 7-8 games, defensively, they've looked a lot more solid. I think they've actually curtailed the goal scoring. They don't look as threatening. It almost feels like he's reined it in a little bit to try and make them a bit more solid.
He's balanced it well.
Yeah, and I give them credit for that, because now they just look a solid outfit, to be fair to them.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to another 0-0. Stoke 0, QPR 0. That one surprised me a little bit. I thought Stoke would win that one. QPR has been able to pull out some results though this season, so they're another team that's trying to stay around the playoff hunt. So yeah, 0-0. I don't know. Who do you think has a better result for? QPR, I guess, because they're away. I don't know. I think they both would have been wanting to win. They both probably look at it and think we need to win this one because it's against a team that we're close to in the table. But yeah, it's probably QPR probably be happier with that, I imagine.
I wasn't surprised it was a draw. I'm just surprised it was 0-0.
0-0. Yeah.
I think I'm not sure what I tipped, but that's, you look at that game and you think, that you could easily see that being 1 or something like that sort of game. So for it to end 0-0 was a bit of a surprise.
Okay. All right. To the next one, if we have to. Wrexham 1, Norwich 2. Big letdown. I guess if we're being honest, it probably was a bit of a banana peel game. We were all riding pretty high, feeling pretty good about ourselves. So might overlook that one a little bit just because of their league position. But Clement's got them playing pretty well. I still didn't think they looked that great, unfortunately. I know they got some compliments. Obviously they're gonna be happy with the win, but I think we were the better team for 75% of that game. Just unfortunately they took their chances when they got them, and we didn't. So if you look at the game, actually, it's kind of the opposite of what our usual game, what we usually think of a Wrexham game goes, where we've got less of the ball, less chances, but somehow we managed to come out with a win. We actually dominated all those stats. So we had 54% possession. Our XG was 1.6 to their 0.72. We had 18 total shots. They only had 7. We had 4 on target. They only had 3, and just couldn't get the finish. Couldn't put the ball in the net. Max though continues his good run of form. Gets another goal. Or sorry, Max. Did I say Max? Sam Smith continues his form. Gets another goal. That's 3-3 in the league. 3-4 if you count the cup game. But yeah, he's good. It was good assist by Max also. And then the first goal, the assist by Ali Ahmed. I think it was a good start for him because he hit the woodwork too right after that. So they could have went up 2-0. But it seemed like right after that we kind of got into it and really just kind of took over for the rest of the first half. Really, and I thought we looked better side basically the whole first half after that. After they hit the bar, and then we turned the ball over and they hit us on the break. And I think just watching it back, I think it was just getting too many players forward. And to be honest, Kenny McLean making a really good pass and Makama making the right run to get himself into space where he did get himself a good opportunity on goal. And it was a great strike, so you can't take anything away from him there. So disappointing that we didn't get a second goal because I felt like we definitely could have. But yeah, it was just it was a weird one. It was weird because it was. I know there's been plenty of talk about it in our Discord and arguing about who did this and who. I think it was. I don't think we played that bad. I think we turned the ball over a little bit more than what we usually do. But despite that, like the stats, player rate, as far as our players go, if you look at their actual passing stats, they're actually really good. Our passing stats were really good, and it was just a few turnovers here and there, and just cost us. But yeah, and it was just the finishing just wasn't quite there. And then to be fair, I think their goalkeeper made one unbelievable save on the shot from Broadhead where he was real close, and how he got down to that ball, I have no idea. I think everybody in the ground thought that was in, including Broadhead. It just looked like that thing's going in, and somehow he gets down to it. It was great. It was a great bit of keeping from him. So yeah, it's disappointing, but on to the next one, I guess. I got Leicester tomorrow, so get back into them. What do you think, Patty?
They were silly mistakes. They were really poor mistakes, turning over the ball in the middle of an attack. Their brains weren't clicked on. There was so many moments of just slowness, and occasionally the effort wasn't there either. Doyle at one stage running back decides to slow up to look around him to see what's going on, and then realizes, oh, there's a player there chasing the ball. I better hurry up again, and it's too late. Nips in front of him. Like it's craziness, and there was multiple instances all the way across the match. However, the silver light from that is, yes, we could have won that match if we had been just on our game a little bit more. So the style of football and the formation, all of that, I still think is working. But maybe we have to be that little bit more careful when you specifically have teams that will try and hit you on the counter. If that's going to be their game plan and they're fast enough to do it, we have to be a little bit more careful with how we attack and how we cover.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, and I want to watch it. I want to see a little more of it, but I feel like they probably targeted that run that Makama made because I think he got himself into space knowing that our defender had just vacated it. You know what I mean? And was getting too far forward. So as Doyle goes forward like he does, I think Makama, instead of staying in the middle of the pitch, I think he slid himself out a little wider to get himself away from Hyam. And then when Kenny McLean makes his, he gets the ball, runs forward. He's running at Hyam. Hyam's got a choice. And like you said, that was where Doyle was. He was running back. He started to run, and then you're right. He turned around to look, and I think he probably looked to see if he could cut off the runner. But then once he did, he realized, oh crap, I can't. And also, I can't catch McCommon now. And yeah, it was disappointing. But what are you gonna do? On to the next. Yeah. On to the next one. So, did you have any comments on that one, John? Did you get to watch our game? I don't know if you watched it or not.
I saw the highlights. I think the other thing is, I know Norwich are down there in trouble this season, but when you see the team sheet and see the play, they've not got bad players. I mean, Kenny McLean has been a top operator at this level for a number of years. I thought the winning goal for them was a lovely goal. I know obviously every goal could be prevented, but sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, do you know what? That's a really well worked counter attack, slick, quick. And hey, credit to the McCarmer guy. There's a lot of talk about Josh Sargent. That's a hell of a finish. That's the finish of a striker that scored 9 goals or whatever it is this season. So credit to them. And if on recent form, they're not terrible, are they? I think they're in they're around top 7 or top 6, aren't they, in recent form or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
So you kind of go into the game and go, they're in the bottom 3. We should kind of not roll them over, but you go into the game and think, we should win this. But they're not as bad as the league position suggests. So
no, they're not. All right, and then Swansea City won, Birmingham City won. Tell us about it, John. What do you think?
We did our usual. We started okay and then made a silly mistake that cost us a goal. And then again, first half, I thought we were too passive, a little bit too sort of weak, shall we say. Much the better side second half. It's the old tale, tale of two halves. I think the thing with us is, you looked at our bench on the weekend. I think we had 4 kids named on the bench. So our squad is at its kind of weakest point right now. Obviously, we're waiting, and we've got a few transfers in. There's a few more coming in. But we always knew that this game would probably, was always going to come too soon for that. So it was kind of like, okay, well, we're going to have to go there, and basically, if we got anything, it was a bonus. So it was a positive. It was a positive result and a positive performance on the whole, because, like I said, Swansea's home form recently is really good. Our away form is atrocious. So you kind of thought straight away, well, it's a home win all day long. But no, I was pleased the way we dug in and we actually fought for it, which in recent away games we haven't. We've just kind of been rolled over. We've tried to play our football, conceded a few silly goals and felt sorry for ourselves and just basically been beaten up. This game we actually went, do you know what, we've got something to fight for, and we got stuck in. No, I was pleased. But yeah, we need players, and we need players back from injury. I'm shocked I'm even saying this, but we missed Jack Robinson because Jack Robinson's injured. This is how low we are in numbers. Jack Robinson's injured, so he was our only left-footed centre half. So we've had to play Newman and Clara, and the Newman transfer just hasn't worked. He hasn't taken to Championship football at all, and I think he's a particularly weak link. Didn't have a bad game. Hold my hands up, he didn't play badly against Swansea, but he is a weak point. Yeah, we're running on empty right now, players wise. So the new recruits are desperately needed.
All right. Okay, so let me pull up the table real quick, and we can have a little talk about that. So obviously, Coventry on 55, Middlesbrough on 49, Ipswich on 47, and don't look now, Millwall on 46. Do we start talking about a 4-way race? especially if Millwall win tomorrow against Coventry.
Maybe if they take out Coventry, I would start adding Millwall into it. But yeah,
they're right there. They're right there.
I can't. I think I said to Ken on Ring and Rant last night. I said this weekend, which sounds mad considering the way you got Millwall there, but for me was the first weekend where I turned around and went, it's 2 from 3 on that. You know, it's an automatic race between Coventry, Middlesbrough, and Ipswich, and I know Millwall are right there, but saying blunt, they're just not as good as the 3 above them. They will not be consistently good enough. So for me, it's 2 from the top 3.
If you look at the goal difference, that does paint a little bit of a story. Obviously, Coventry had some massive scores early in the season, but Middlesbrough on +12, Ipswich on +21, and then Millwall is on -2. So to be a negative goal difference and to be fourth that close to the top 3, they've got a little bit lucky. You know, they've been sliding matches 1 goal at a time. Can they sustain in the long term to get a top 2? I doubt it. Stranger things have happened, but yeah, I doubt it. They could very well end up in the playoffs. You know, that I think is very possible. They could keep this one going to the end of the season and have enough points to be in there somewhere.
Okay. What about? I mean, so what are we thinking for the top 2? I mean, I think it's hard to see Ipswich finishing outside the top 2. Currently, if they win their game in hand, that would put them in the top 2. They're on a really good run of form right now. And I just find it hard to believe that they won't finish in the top 2. Do we think Middlesbrough can stay, can fight and maybe catch Coventry, or is it Ipswich and Coventry and everybody else is fighting for playoffs? I mean, I know I just asked if maybe is it a 4-way race for autos now, but I'm kind of with you guys. I think Millwall will fall off. But it's a tough one. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Coventry, they built themselves up such a lead that it's, I mean, yeah, they've been on a poor run of form, but they're still 6 points clear. You know what I mean? So, and 8, what is it? 8 points clear of Ipswich currently. So, I mean, they've got to be feeling pretty good. And it's still a lot of points to make up, and we're running out of games. I mean, what have we got? 19 left now, I think, for most teams. So it's, it's not definitely not. It's not going to be easy, and if they can keep a decent run of form together, I think they'll be in really good shape. I still think for me, it's Coventry and Ipswich are probably the 2 favorites for the promotion spots. So what do you guys think?
I still fancy Ipswich to win it, if I'm being honest. I think they're the side to me that look like they're getting stronger as the season's going on. Coventry have had a big wobble, and for me, they are digging out results, but I think they're having to fight really hard for it. Middlesbrough are still sort of ticking along. The big question is, what do Coventry do? I like I said, I think Ipswich will go from strength to strength. So I think they'll reel Coventry in just because of the sheer amount of games that Ipswich will probably win between now and the end of the season. The big question is, do Coventry slip up enough to give Middlesbrough a sniff? That's the question for me. And I don't know is the honest answer. I've been really impressed with Middlesbrough recently. But Coventry do seem to be digging results out. But I know you say games are in and out, but the thing is with this sort of race is they're all winning games. So, draws are killers, aren't they? All it takes is Coventry to draw a couple of games, Middlesbrough to win a couple of games, and Ipswich, all of a sudden that's that's a 4 points disappeared in a matter of speaking straight away, and that's a horrible position to be in when you draw a game and it's a terrible result and could have real big impact. So the pressure's really on to just keep winning. And ultimately, that's all that Middlesbrough and Ipswich have got to keep doing is just keep winning games, isn't it? Putting that pressure on Coventry to say, look, we're going to carry on. You've got to do the same. So,
yeah. What do you think, Patty?
Yeah, I do see Ipswich slowly climbing up through the league, and Coventry probably being in the top two. The question for Middlesbrough, for me, is what's going to happen to Coventry once they do get passed by Ipswich, and how soon is that going to happen? So if Coventry can pull out some decent results and just slow everything down, the runway will be gone, and they'll manage to be there in the top two. But if Ipswich go on a bit of a tear and Coventry keeps sliding with draws here and there and the odd loss, if Coventry get caught early for the league position, the league win, by Ipswich, I could see them breaking and falling out, and Middlesbrough taking it.
It'd be an epic failure, I think, with where they were at one point. But it's possible. Because they're not that far away from it now. But I think they're a pretty daggone good team, and so I'd expect them to. They're still going to get results. They're still going to beat a lot of teams. So, I think they'll be all right. All right, so let's move down a little bit. Let's talk about the playoffs. So currently, it's Ipswich, Millwall, Hull City, and Preston North End in the playoffs. Preston on 43 points. And then 7th and 8th, you've got Stoke and Watford on 41 points. Below that, you got Bristol and Wrexham on 40, and then it drops down to QPRs on 39, I think, 38 for Derby, Leicester on 37, and it just kind of goes down from there. So, how far down do you think we go? As far as play, how far down does it go? How far down is too far to get in the playoffs? What do you guys think there? Let's talk about that, I guess, first. Who are the teams that realistically still have a shot? I'm just kind of having a look, but got an idea. What do you guys think? How far down does it go?
You could go down as far as you like.
Yeah. There's a lot of teams below, from 11th down, that I don't feel are good enough to go on a significant run to get back up into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is kind of my viewpoint on this. So it will probably end up being fairly tight at the end of the season, like normal. But the chasing pack of 7th to 11th are probably the main ones that are going to be attacking there. Of course, ones that are a little bit lower down could put a run together, but I think it's less likely.
Yeah, I think you get, obviously, with like Birmingham City, they've got players coming in. If they can get those players in and get on a good run, they've got a shot. And they're not miles off it. They're what are you, John? 8 points off, I think, at the moment. Is that right? Yeah. So you're not miles off, but again, we are running out of games, so you're gonna have to turn it around pretty quick. You know what I mean?
I do. I think the only thing with the playoff, there's a lot of teams in there which I see going on a run. No. Do I see Derby going on a run? No. Do I see QPR going on a run? No. Could I see Leicester, Southampton all going on a run? Yeah, absolutely. If we're being honest, all it takes is to win 3-4 games in a row, and you go from where you are to all of a sudden in in the conversation. So yeah, you've got to do it. That's the thing. And who's good enough to do it? I think I go back to you guys. You guys were nowhere near it. Won 4 games on the spin, involved in it. And Watford went from, what is it? I think Watford were 12th, weren't they, or 11th? They won 4 or 5 games on the spin, and all of a sudden they were in talks for the automatic hunt. So yeah, games are running out, but there's still 19 games. A lot can happen in 19 games. So, I think the joy is it's so congested, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
I look at it, and there's a lot of teams where I'd say, like I said earlier, QPR, Derby. Do I see them going on a run? Could I see Swansea going on? No, but just because of the points total and the difference, you can't count really anyone out. That's the thing.
No, yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy one. It's one of those things, because it's like traffic is an issue, because you need to, even if you go on a run, you also need all those teams ahead of you to be dropping points, or at least some of them. You know what I mean? So you can make, because I think that was our thing. Like I think when we started our run, we were only 6 points off the playoffs. We won 4 on the bounce, but still only made it to what, 9th, if I remember right. I think was the highest we made it. I don't think we quite made it, or maybe we made it to 8th. But because those other teams weren't all losing just because we were winning. Yeah, it was. You'd like to think you win 4 on the spin and you're only 6 points out, you'd probably end up in the playoffs. And we just didn't quite get there. We were 1 point off. We were close, but it just didn't quite get there. And so I think that's the problem is the amount of traffic, the amount of teams that are close. It's tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, but it's what I've said all season. It's the consistency. Yeah, you can win 4 games on a run. The thing is, if you then go 4 games without a win, like 3 draws and a loss in the next 4 games, or you're mid-table. That's the thing. Yeah, any team can win 4 games, get in contention, but the key is then you've got to consistently tick over points, which will then get you in and around the top 6 hunt. And the history has shown, or this season has shown, is that other than, you would argue that probably. I mean, even like the likes of Preston, Hull, and Millwall are probably the first team I would come to where I'd say they've been consistent most of the season. But even Hull and Preston have gone 2-3 weeks where they've had poor results. So I bet you if you take a snapshot of the league now and go back and come back in 8 games time, it's probably going to look completely different. It's that close.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I guess let's move down, and let's talk about the relegation pack. And how far up do we draw this line? I guess that's the next question. Because I mean, I think Sheffield United, are probably safe, because I think they're good enough. They're going to get the results they need to keep themselves out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're currently, I guess they're only 5 points clear. So it's not like they're miles clear. But
the game in hand is helpful.
Yeah, that's true. They do have a game in hand. And some of the teams behind them do have a game in hand too.
They do as well,
Portsmouth got 2. Portsmouth are only played 25, so that could throw a massive spanner in the works. If Portsmouth win those 2 games, which honestly, it's not like they win a ton of games. So will they win those 2 games? Probably not. But they could, and that could cause issues. Norwich, Oxford, Wednesday. I think we're all, Wednesday's going down. That's happening. Oxford, I think, are in trouble. They've got to get they've got to start getting results. I know that we talked about that draw they got on the weekend as a good result, but they got to start getting. They need to get a couple wins to really keep themselves safe. So I don't know. They're 4 points. I guess 5 points from safety at the moment, and right now the team, that'd be Portsmouth's on, but they've got 2 in hand. And then Blackburn Rovers are also on 28. Here's another team, and I know we want to talk about them because they just got a new manager. West Brom, all of a sudden, are finding themselves down and around it, and they play Norwich on the week or tomorrow. That could be a massive game. If Norwich wins that game, that would put Norwich on 30 and West Brom on 31. And depending on other results, I mean, that actually could have West Brom 1 point from being in the bottom three. So yeah, I mean, what are we thinking about that, guys?
I think the big question is what do we all think the points tally is to survive? I know that it's usually 45 points is usually give or
Mm-hmm.
take around the mark that keeps you up. I'm not convinced it's going to be that high personally. So I kind of look at that table and think, well, who's going to get to 45 or plus points? And then there's a few. I think I could see West Brom getting there. I think Sheffield United will get there. Swansea are a bit of a side that should do, but they're on the iffy list. But we discount Sheffield Wednesday. The big question with Sheffield Wednesday is will they get to 0, let alone anything else? I look at Oxford and almost look, I don't even see them getting to 40 points by the end of the season, if I'm being honest. So I'm almost at the point of I think they're gone. So yeah, and then I think Norwich will get out of it, but again, points wise, they got to continue to pick up points. You see, I'm going to sound daft now because West Brom blown. I would be more worried for Charlton than I would be West Brom.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So, if it was me, I would probably say it's probably one from Norwich, Portsmouth, Blackburn, or Charlton for me. That goes down with Sheffield and Oxford.
I'm not so sure that West Brom get more points than Charlton to the end of the season. I know you feel like they should, but if you look at the results, I mean, they've got one more win, but they've only drawn 4 games and they've lost 14. Whereas Charlton's drawn 8 and only lost 10. And we know Jones can get a result when he needs to. I don't know, man. I'm not convinced. And maybe that just means Charlton safe. You know what I mean? Maybe it just means that. Maybe, but I'm not convinced that West Brom are just gonna pull out of it because they've not been good this season. Let's be honest, they have not been good. And if they brought in a manager that maybe he's got a defensive mindset, which is probably what you need, to just nick some points and get yourself safe. But does he have the experience needed for a relegation battle? I think that's a question that I think is worth asking. Because I don't know if he does. You know what I mean? I'm just not convinced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the biggest question for West Brom is the manager right now. I don't think it's the quality of player or the quality of squad they've got. Because I'll be brutally honest, West Brom have no real reason to be where they are. They are far better than 19th. They are a far better team than Charlton. They're a far better side than probably Swansea, in all fairness, player for player wise. But yeah, the biggest question is the manager. It's a big gamble. I think for me, the two I would say, I personally think Jones, I think, will keep Charlton up. The two that worry me for relegation is Portsmouth and Blackburn. I think it's one of them two that go down with Oxford and Sheffield, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But I think Charlton and West Brom will be in the fight. So will Norwich as well. But I think Norwich will slowly pull themselves away.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And honestly, if I'm going to pick one, I think it's probably Blackburn. I think I'm more worried about them than anybody. They look really bad. So yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time when I'm picking games. It's hard for me to look at them and think, yeah, they're going to beat anybody. I just don't see Blackburn Rovers beating anybody right now.
Yeah.
Not that they can't, but I just don't. It just when I'm looking at the matchups, I'm just like, I can't pick them to win.
Yeah. I might add though, I wouldn't discount Norwich either, because as we found out the other season, when you get yourselves into this mess and you're in the bottom three, getting out of it, as much as you can play well and pick up points, it's still really hard. I mean, you look, they've played well recently and picked up points.
Mm-hmm.
They're still in the relegation zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what you're saying about, oh God, if they could turn around and beat West Brom, they'd go 1 point behind West Brom. If West Brom beat Norwich,
yeah,
all of a sudden that's a bigger gap where you say, well, okay, and then Norwich are in a world of hurt still. I mean, it's like I said, I fully expect Norwich to do it, but I'd also say the flip side is knowing it from like we suffered with it, getting out of there once you're in it is really tough.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Okay. Here's a see. Matt Al brings up a decent point here. Leicester's points deductions. I mean, does that throw them into the? I mean, sure. I mean, you'd think surely they're good enough to stay clear of it, but I mean, if you get a, I mean, even if it's 6, even if it's 6, that drops them to 31. Depending on when they get it. But let's say if they got it today, that drop them to 31. I mean, that puts them right in the mix.
But you're still saying though they're only 9 points for the rest of the season off the 40 they need, ish. So I can't see Leicester not pulling.
I think they'll need more. I'm not convinced 40. I don't think it'll be that low. I actually wonder if it'll go higher. I think it might get closer to 45.
That all depends on that third spot and everybody around them, because the bottom two don't really matter.
No.
It's that third spot. How high can they get?
How far? Yeah, exactly.
How far up can they get? And can everybody else slip just that little bit higher?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, because these teams, like the teams that are in that area that are down around the relegation zone are actually pretty good teams. So it's like when you think about Norwich and West Brom being right around it, if Blackburn can manage to get a decent run and Portsmouth can get a decent run, and it gets down, all of a sudden that drive, because I do think Norwich are going to continue to win some games, so I think their points tally is going to go up. But if the other teams can keep up with them, it just drives that bottom, or that drop number up. And we've seen it, last couple seasons. I don't think it'll get this high, but last couple seasons it was 50, I think, wasn't it, or right around 50? I think you guys went down with 50 points, right, John?
Thank you for reminding me.
Yep. Yeah, just throw it out there. Sometimes
I think the one that would be interesting, which is it happens in the Championship every damn year, that the bottom half of the table are utter garbage until you get to about March, and then all of a sudden the realization of relegation suddenly hits teams, and they all turn into prime Barcelona. And it's ridiculous. Honestly, every season in Championship, it is bonkers, because the bottom 6 suddenly start winning every goddamn week. And then when you're a mid-table side like a Swansea or a Sheffield or something like that, and you've thought, in all fairness, you've got nothing to play for, your season's done and you're well away from trouble, but you're miles away from playoffs, and you're sort of just meandering through games. All of a sudden, 3 games later, the whole 6 teams below you have won 3 on the bounce all of a sudden, and you're dragged into it. I don't think it'll happen, but like you said, I mean, I think we went down with 50, which is, I think, the highest points tally a relegated club I had since it was Peterborough, I think, some years previous. But I'll be amazed if it's any more than 45. To be honest.
Yeah. All right.
45 is enough to put Norwich in danger.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's 18 points just to hit the 45. So, yeah, that's a possibility. If it goes higher than the 40, hits about 45, they could be still in there.
Yeah.
It was the problem that hit us, because I remember we got to like 43 or 44, and we all kind of sat there going, well, this is usually enough. And there was like, I don't know, 4 games remaining, but everyone else kept winning around you. And I think that's the problem with Norwich. It's all very well and good picking up points, but a lot depends on the Portsmouth and Blackburns and Charltons and that, like I said, if West Brom go and turn over Norwich and, Blackburn sneak a result, or Port, it's one of those, isn't it? It's your 2-3 weeks previous good results almost feel like they're for nothing because you haven't made the ground.
Yeah. Okay. I guess. Do we want to talk? I don't know. What do we want to go on to next, guys? We can talk about some transfer business. Some of the teams are doing. You want to talk about that? Get into that conversation.
Yeah.
All right.
Go for it.
Let me drop this, and I can drop this link you sent me. There we go. Try to anyway. Anyway, yeah. So let's. All right. I know you guys have had a ton going on. John, why don't you jump into the Blues? What kind of transfer business you guys been doing? And I'll get this.
Well, so far we brought, obviously early in the window, we brought in Kai Wagner from Philadelphia in the MLS, left back. Been relatively surprised by him. Wasn't expecting much, but looks a decent player. Now we're going to get a bit more exotic. We brought in John Solis from Girona, defensive midfielder, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", big, strong, box to box, powerful midfielder. Brought him in on loan. I think there's an obligation to buy him for, I think it's €8 million if he starts 11 games for us between now and the end of the season. So yeah, much needed strength. The one we signed today, which was a bit left field, is Ibrahim Osman. We've got on loan from Brighton, who I must admit I hadn't heard of him until it was sort of linked and I'd read up about him. I was kind of amazed that Brighton bought him for 18 million quid into 2024 and he hasn't played a game for them. He went out on loan to Feyenoord and played in the Erie division and played in Champions League football, but apparently wasn't good enough for Brighton. And then spent the first half of the season on loan at Auxerre. And by all accounts, I think he made something like 12 starts or 12 appearances. But they want him, Brighton want him to play back in English football and also in a team that plays our style. So that is apparently one of the reasons why we've got him. So, but again, he's a squad player. I don't anticipate him to come in and start games. I think he'll be behind Patrick Roberts and Damari Gray for the wing positions. But yeah, and that's the incoming so far. But I think there's probably 3 more on the horizon.
Okay. What about? I've noticed you guys have played Kumas a little bit more here recently. Has that just been because you just don't have anybody else to play?
Yeah, that's because
I know you kind of felt like he may be going back. You weren't sure, but thought he may be going back. He may be ending that loan.
Yeah, Chris Kumas has only really played because Chris Davis's nan wasn't available to play with the wide player. From all the noises is that the Ibrahim Osman guy is to replace Kumas. So expect Kumas to go back to Liverpool in the coming days. Whether obviously he hasn't gone back yet, so I would imagine he's probably going to be, Kumas will be in the squad tomorrow, but I suspect he probably goes back before the weekend. So by the end of the week, I think it wasn't reported, but it was kind of mentioned by a few journalists, Birmingham journalists on social media, that Blues had agreed with Liverpool to extend the loan window. So there was a recall window. I think it was between something like the 7th of January and I want to say the 17th or something like that, where a recall could be done. And apparently, due to injuries and transfer business, Blues and Liverpool agreed that they would extend that window for a further week. So that allowed us to keep him for an extra week while we got a player in. And apparently, it also helped Liverpool arrange where Kumas is going to go next. So, yeah, he'll be going back, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. It'd be interesting to see if we. I know we were linked to him heavily in the summer. So it'd be interesting to see if Parky tries to get him,
He's
and
not
what we do with him. Yeah. Be interesting. We'll see. Let's go. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull this up. I'm just gonna have to apologize ahead of time for the ads because nothing I can do about it. We are on Transfer Marked. Of course, I've got the Birmingham City stuff up here. Kind of already talked about all those. Let's move down to Blackburn. They got cash in from you guys, or well, not from you guys, from Brighton. You guys sent him back to Brighton, and then they immediately got that loan for Aaron Cashin, and I believe he scored an own goal.
He had a great debut, didn't he? I did laugh on social media. I think there's a well-known Blackburn sort of fan account tweeted after, or I think it was just about a few minutes after the own goal was in, sort of just came on the Birmingham Twitter hashtag, just sort of said, "I would like to formally apologise. You were all correct about cashing. God damn it."
And then Matthias Jorgensen, I guess, or Jorgensen, right winger, apparently paid $4 million for him from Bodo Glimt. I saw this one come across the other day. I obviously don't know anything about him. What you think of that? I was surprised to see him do any business, to be able to do the business, because I know they've kind of been tight. So to buy a player on a $4 million fee, I thought that was surprising to me.
Yeah, the value was surprising.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't seem like I didn't expect the loan for Cashin made sense. I can understand him doing loans. I kind of figured they'd do that, but to buy a player and spend $4 million, I guess that's what euros. So whatever that comes out to in pounds, it's still a decent chunk of money, I would think, for Blackburn.
Money not being spent on the pitch, yeah.
What are you trying to say? They don't have a very good pitch?
I'm not saying anything.
Not saying anything. Okay, let's go to Bristol. George Earthy. They got him on loan from West Ham. I think they've had him previously, if I heard correctly. And I think they liked him. I think it was maybe the end of last season they had him on loan, and he'd done well for them, or had done decent for them maybe. I know there was some talk that they'd had him before. I don't recognize him, so I don't know much about him. But and then Sam Morsey, which I think I think his big run was at Ipswich, right? And their promotion seasons. So yeah,
that's good. That's a smart buy or a smart pickup, should I say? It's free transfer because proper experience, proper championship midfielder. He's not going to start every game, but Bristol, he'll be one of those when you can see Bristol winning 1-0 away from home or something and just want to shore it up. He's the perfect guy to just bring on, steady the ship,
right?
Kick people in the middle of the park.
Okay, and then move on to Charlton. They brought in this real big fella from Birmingham named Lyndon Dykes. What do you think of that one?
Thank God. But I mean, Lyndon himself needs to play games. Yeah. He's been very open about that. I mean, even if he sat on our bench for the rest of the season, he would still go to the World Cup because Scotland aren't really, enamored with strikers left, right, and centre. So he is, as long as injury free, he'll go to the World Cup. The bit that about this deal, which makes no sense, is that he had 18 months left on his contract with us.
Mm-hmm.
We've essentially let him go on a free. He's only signed a 6-month contract for Charlton. So I'm trying, so it's all a bit weird. So a lot of people seem to think what we've agreed is that we've essentially paid up his remaining year of his contract. This is the theory. No one knows it's true, but they all seem to think Birmingham have essentially said, "Yeah, you can go. We'll let you go. If you can go and find somebody that will take up your contract from now to the end of the season," which essentially what we think Charlton have done. They've said, "Okay, we'll take his wages and his contract up till from now to the end of the season, hence the 6-month deal, and the remaining 12 months he had left on his contract, we'll just pay up and say bye bye. You can leave on a free transfer." That's what a lot of people seem to think has happened. But he needs to go, and to be fair, he'll play games for them because they play a big young lad up front, or have been, and Dykes is a better option.
So. Nathan Jones will use him for sure. And Harry Clark, which I didn't think was a bad piece of business. Loan from Ipswich. He plays right back. So yeah, Harry Clark from Ipswich on loan to Charlton. Any thoughts on that one?
I don't think it's one of those. I think Ipswich fans will say, thank God he's gone. Thanks for your service, but but the thing is, same with Dykes with us. It's Charlton and Jones play a certain football. So while Harry Clark might not have suited Ipswich, might not have suited the way he played, and might have looked possibly a little accident prone in that regard. Charlton and under Jones play a completely different style. So you might find he could be a really good signing.
Good player for them.
And let's face it, he's played at the Championship for a number of years, so he knows the league and he's an experienced pro at this level. So
okay, and then apparently Jerome Russillium. I have not seen this one yet. I didn't notice this one, so I left back. Don't know anything about him.
Yeah, this was the one that they picked up. He was a free transfer, and they picked him up in October, November time.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure if he's played or not, but he's a bit of a weird one because I think he was on trial. They signed him on a free or something like that, but he was nowhere near fit or something. He'd been without a club all summer as well. So I have no idea if he's featured yet or not, to be honest.
I don't recognize the name, so I'm not sure. Not convinced he has. Could be wrong. All right, Coventry. Oh, they've done some stuff. So they brought Yang in. I'll just do it the easy way. Yang. They brought him in. Of course, he was at who was he with the first part of the season?
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, right? Okay. And so I actually thought that was interesting. I think me and you may have already spoke on this one because that one kind of surprised me because I thought maybe they'd go for a higher quality player.
I looked at his time at Portsmouth and kind of went, okay, not sure he did a lot. If you know what I mean, didn't stand out.
Yeah. But then they brought in Romain Esse, which I think makes a little more sense to me. That was kind of what I thought they would do with Yang. Both right wingers. So they got that spot sealed up.
Esse's a baller. He's really good. Yeah.
And then Nindelone. Okay, so that would have been one they'd sent out on loan, I imagine. Norman Bassett. I don't recognize that one, but let's see. Scroll on down. Derby County. Another guy you know something about. Deion Sanderson, they signed him. I think they already had him at the club, and then they ended up buying him from you guys, I assume.
Yeah, we sent him out on loan when we were in League One, which is ironic because I know it made all the media over here that Birmingham basically loaned out their fourth choice centre back to the league above.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he used to be our captain under John Eustace. I mean, it's the funny story. I don't know if people have followed it, but John Eustace has basically signed Dion Sanderson for in the last something like 5 transfer windows or something like that. So he signed him at Birmingham, signed him at Blackburn, and signed him at Derby as well. And was his assistant manager at QPR before Birmingham. So yeah, Dion goes where John goes. I mean, we sold him dirt cheap. I think he had a couple of years left. We just wanted his contract off the books, and it was a deal that suited everyone. He knew his time at Birmingham was up, and Eustace likes him. And to be fair, he's done well under Eustace, like he did for us under Eustace. He played well, so it was no surprise. Wish we could have got more money, but the wages was the main thing to get off the books.
Okay. Then they brought in Oscar Frallo, which that name piqued my interest because I signed him on Football Manager a while back, and he was really good for me as a defensive midfielder. I have no idea what they've signed him for, where they're going to play him, but he was really good for me on Football Manager. So I was like, oh, hey, I know that name.
I was expecting you to say where it piqued your interest, where he's obviously a Danish Italian.
No, yeah, that definitely, no. It was one of those that because I was using a club in Germany, and he's one of those randoms that popped up, and like, yeah, we'll take him. And he was really good for me in that save. So that was I saw that name and I was like, oh, hey, I know that guy. But then they brought in Jake, or no, in alone. I've been coming back to him, Rooney. And yeah, okay, so all those were just loans coming back. All right, so let's scroll on down. Hull City, James DeBio, center back on a free transfer. Do we know much about him? He was on Leeds under 21. I don't know much about him.
Never heard of the kid, if I'm honest.
Yep, me neither. Okay, good. I'm not the only one. And then Yu Hirakawa, right winger from Bristol City. I thought he was playing for, but I didn't look into it. But for some reason, I felt like he was playing for them. So I thought that was interesting.
I don't think he was a regular. I think by all accounts, my Bristol mate in a chat earlier, I noticed put that he didn't really suit the style under the manager, so he didn't really fit in. I think the surprising thing, which I think is like over social media, is that it's not often you get Bristol City, a playoff chasing club, loaning a player to another playoff chasing.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting.
You could have seen, if they'd loaned into Portsmouth or something, you wouldn't have batted an eyelid and carry on, sort of thing. But the fact that they've loaned into Hull, who are above them, it's kind of piqued a few people's interest and gone, it's a bit of a weird transfer, but money talks, doesn't it? So
all right, let's move on down. Yeah, I thought that was okay. Yeah, move on down to Ipswich. They've been linked with loads, nobody in as of yet. So we'll see what they do. I did see a story today. I think it came out today, maybe last night. They were linked with Mehmeti, Anis Mehmeti from where's he at? Bristol.
Yeah.
So that's be interesting. Which a little disappointing to me because I was kind of hoping we'd be in for him.
It sounds like that one has legs because, of course, I think I mentioned earlier the Philogene picked up a knee injury, I think there are a few rumours around that it's actually a bad one for Philogene, where they will be looking to replace potentially, which would make sense why the interest in the Mehmeti is there.
Yeah, no would for sure. And that'll be disappointing because I had heard rumors that we were interested in him. So that'll be disappointing. Leicester, no new arrivals yet. Middlesbrough. So they brought in Leo Castledine or Castledine. I don't know how it's pronounced. He was on loan at Huddersfield in League One. Scored a load of goals, like 12. Scored some bangers too. I thought it was a cheap deal, really. Kind of oddly cheap, so you wonder if there's not something else to that. Maybe he's just not. Despite the goals, maybe he's not quite as good as what you'd think, because you'd think Chelsea would try to get as much as they could out of him. I thought he kind of went a little cheap, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it's as we both experienced League One. League One is not a
Mhm.
particularly high level, is it?
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah.
having a purple patch first half of the season, does it really? I mean, the thing is, I look at that, and I mean, he came off the bench, I think, for Middlesbrough
Mhm.
on Friday night, but I think it was already 3-2. It was like literally last few kicks of the game.
Okay. Yeah.
Do I see him playing much for Middlesbrough? No.
Yeah.
It almost feels a little bit like a bit of a cheap gamble. He could turn out to be a really classy
Right.
player, but
Yeah.
£1 million, I think they paid for him, wasn't it? 20 years old.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Probably a gamble, they thought.
Good gamble, and see, that's
Yeah.
what I thought, because I had him in my when we did our pre-transfer window show, and I was throwing names out there. He was one of the names I threw out there, kind of for that reason, because the rumors were that Chelsea were going to let him go cheap, and it's like it's a gamble, and he's scoring loads of goals in League One, and he's 20. You know what I mean? So you'd like to think he's going to get better. Uh,
Yeah, you would.
who knows?
Let's be honest. He doesn't have to improve massively
Hmm.
in the next year or so to probably go up to like £5 million or something silly like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably a smart. I mean, the daft thing is, realistically, if Middlesbrough do get second, for example, this season,
Hmm.
he'll be on loan at somewhere else when he next
Yeah.
season from Middlesbrough. So,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Then they brought in Finley Monroe. I don't know much about Finley Monroe, but I did seem like people were high on that one. You know anything about him?
I've never heard of the kid or the club he came from.
Me neither. Or that's right. I see. Yeah, never heard of her. Gotcha. Moving on. Uh, Millwall. They brought. Oh no. Okay, they've not done anything other than an end of loan. Probably will be going back out soon. Um, Norwich, of course, we just played them. Uh, I think the only thing they'd done was Ali Ahmed, and to be honest, I thought he looked pretty good. Only seen him for 45 minutes. To be fair, he did get quiet in the second part of the first half that he played. But we had the ball so much, I don't think what's a way. He's not going to have loads to do without the ball. So yeah, I thought he looked good though, especially in the first 10 minutes of the game. We got an assist and hit the crossbar, so he was dangerous for sure. Yeah, any thoughts on him?
No, I mean, it's a bit left field
Hmm.
MLS, like we
Yeah.
looked in the MLS, which is not something you see a lot of championship clubs do, if I'm being
Hmm.
honest. The list of the amount of players that have come from the MLS to the championship is long, and unfortunately for the list of the amount that have failed is also long. So
Long.
you don't get many success stories. So all the best to the lad. I
Yeah.
hope it works out for him. Left midfielder.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see how many games he gets.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Oxford, they've done some stuff. So they brought in Jamie McDonnell, uh, U21 Nottingham Forest, and U21. I don't know much about him. I don't know where he's been before. You got any info on him?
The name rings a bell, but I don't know why.
Okay. Um, Miles Pert Harris. Have heard that one before. Yeah. Um,
I
decent
think
signing for
yeah, I
Oxford,
think
I think.
he's been on loan a few places, hasn't he? I
Hmm.
think he's one of
Yeah.
these that
Yeah.
Brentford have bought in and loaned him out a few places. So yeah, but obviously they've purchased it. Have they purchased
Yeah.
him? I think
Yeah, I
yeah.
think they bought him. I think it was I don't know what the fee was, but I do think they bought him.
So but yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't think he's played. I'm not sure if he's been on loan at Championship level before. I think it's league. I think it might have been League One,
Might have been League
possibly.
One. Yeah. Jamie Donnelly. I know he had a really good League One season last season. I think he was. I think he was on loan somewhere else. Was he at Stoke on loan the first half of the
Yeah,
season? He just didn't play
yeah,
at all.
yeah. I think you bang on. I think it was Stoke. This was one I know. He was one of these that everyone got quite hot on in the summer because of
Yep.
how good he did last season. Because it was Leighton
Yep.
Orient, wasn't it, that he was at loan?
Yeah. Yeah. He was on
Um,
fire. Yeah.
I always looked at him and just thought, he reminded me of so many young players, especially at League One level, where you think, yeah, you look at tidy player, skillful on the ball, but um, for his position where he plays, physicality wise in the Championship, I just thought, yeah, you're just going to get mullered in that league, and lo and behold, he got mullered in this league. I mean, it's one of those. I'll be honest, I don't understand the signing from Oxford. It's a loan,
Yeah.
What, yeah. If they were in the League One and loaning him, yeah, I could totally understand it. If they were buying him with the proviso they were going back down to League One, I
Right.
could
Yeah.
understand it. Do I think Jamie Donnelly's going to add huge amounts to their survival hopes? I can't see it.
Real quick, back to Pert Harris. He was on loan at Swansea last season. He played 30 games for him.
Yep,
Scored 3 goals and had 4 assists. So
yep,
yeah.
that's where he rings a bell from. Yeah,
Yep.
so yeah, it's decent pickup for Oxford. That probably.
Okay, so let's go on down. Portsmouth. So they bought Ibu Adams from Derby County, who he had a pretty decent season last season. But maybe just wasn't quite at it this season for Derby.
I think he's just a midfielder where the team outgrew the player, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the video clip of him missing quite possibly the easiest open goal I think I've ever seen. I mean, it was a wonderful defensive pass out of play for a
I mean,
corner, wasn't it? Even no, it was a goal
to
kick
be
because he was
to
able to
be
score.
to be fair to him, I don't have much room to talk, but others may. Others may.
I think even you would have scored that because you
I
wouldn't have
might
had the
have.
pressure of the goalkeeper being there. So,
Yeah, that's true.
but
Oh
no,
shoot.
I think it was one that I think it's probably a decent pickup for Portsmouth.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he is championship quality, but he adds a bit of bite to that midfield.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a natural end for him at Derby. I'm a little bit surprised they got rid of him. I thought I could. He's one of those I could have seen going in the summer, not January. But
Yeah.
depends how much money they got for him, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah. This says they got 575, so not a ton of money. But maybe they just needed to get him off the books. Who knows? I mean, don't know what he was on. So, okay. And then Milanich Ali.
Mm.
What do we know of him? You know anything of him? He was at Luton. He's on loan.
Yeah. You'll remember him. He was the winger that was at I want to say Exeter last season, which Luton bought this time last year. I think he was the good left winger. I'm pretty sure it's him. He was the good left winger at Exeter, and Luton bought him when they were in the Championship still. And he went up there, and obviously they got relegated and came back down. Now he's obviously back on loan, back to the
Back
Championship.
into the championship. Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh. Okay.
I've always liked the look of him. He's a pacey left winger, quite
Yeah.
direct. I do question his end product, but
Yeah.
I like the way he's one of those players. Whenever I've seen him, he's quick and he just runs at players. That's all he has in his mind. And it might just be me. Well, I think everyone's left with me. The Blue Noses have taken over the channel. Excellent. I see you've put some comments in there, Mad Owl. He has frozen. Yes. Yeah, it is just me. Patrick Roberts. Yes, we are looking to sign Patrick Roberts, Mad Owl. I think the idea is to make the deal permanent because he's on loan at the moment. So they're talking about a £1 million deal to make it permanent, I think. The other player you mentioned, I'll be honest, mate, I've not heard of the guy whatsoever. So I don't know anything about that rumor. Sorry to say. Yes, Ruth, Aaron's internet is clearly doing its old thing. Yeah, never trust the redneck, eh? Yeah, let me see if I can find the page that he was looking at. It was the championship transfers, I think. Aaron will be back in a second, people, so don't panic, apparently. Let me find the link that he was looking at. What do you need to do this transfer window? That's a good question. I don't really know. I thought you would probably go after another striker, possibly. But I think Smith's recent form, I think, might have convinced Parky not to do it. I think the thing I hear on this channel a lot is the wing backs. I know you all talk about wing backs and strength.
I'm back.
I was having fun. I was like talking to the chat. We're just like they were asking me what Wrexham need.
They were getting actual good stuff. No,
yeah,
you know
they
what
were
happened, Ruth. No, it wasn't. There was anything wrong with my internet.
Yeah,
my wife decided it was a good time to turn it off, and so yeah, it's.
I've heard you talking for long enough. I'm going to turn you off.
She said, "That's enough. That's enough. You're done. You're cut off." Sorry about that. I don't know. I don't even know because I was looking at that page. I wasn't even looking at. Yeah, so I have no idea when I actually cut out. I may have been
It wasn't.
for a while.
Yeah, no, but it literally like we were chatting and you just froze.
Just froze. Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Let's see if I can bring this back up and we can continue where we were at. Oh shoot. Yeah, it's funny.
Portsmouth. We got to Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, yeah. Okay. So let's bring this back up.
Yeah. Just to answer Mad Al's comment there, yeah, I don't think that's a legitimate one, personally. I don't see us going after him.
All right. Okay. So Portsmouth, we were talking about Allian and ready to move on. Okay, so let's move on down to Preston. Not done anything. QPR, they've done a little bit. That's what we were going to talk. I was going to talk about. This is what I don't know if I got cut off or not. Harrison Armstrong.
Yes.
Harrison Armstrong at Preston got recalled and is actually playing really well for Everton. Do you think they'll get him back?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. I was wondering. I thought he did well enough. Maybe he'd get to stay.
I think he has done well. I think even David Moyes has publicly said they are looking for another midfielder, aren't they? So he's very much been brought back into cover.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those. They'll bring somebody in, and then possibly Armstrong goes out. But the interesting one is they're very heavy in for Lucer at Watford, which it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because you'd say, if you said to Preston, would you take not having him for a while and then getting him back at the end of the window if it means that Everton go and weaken Watford when you're promotion top 6 rivals with their best player? I think you'd probably say, yeah, they'd go for it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think by all the sounds things, I think he does end up back on loan at Preston. I think the thing is because he's played, hasn't he, minutes for Everton now.
Yeah,
it means he can only either
he can. Yeah, if he goes anywhere, he has to go back to Preston. So
yeah.
All right, so let's go QPR. Ronnie Edwards in from Southampton on a permanent. Apparently, this is saying 5.2 million euros. What do you think of that move?
It's a good move. That I'm a little bit surprised they let him go, to be honest. I know he wasn't featuring too much, but he's a good player. So yeah, good pickup for QPR. That.
And then Justin Obikwu, obviously from Coventry, center forward. I don't know anything about him.
No, that's a deal that happened literally this evening, isn't it? I think.
I think I saw that one cross the thing today at some point. Yeah.
So I believe it's a loan, isn't it? I think.
Is it that? This is showing like it's permanent.
You might be right. I could have sworn I read it earlier as a loan.
It might have been. Yeah, I don't know.
My eyes might be deceiving me, which is not unheard of.
Yeah, it happens. Happens to the best of us. Okay, let's go down to Sheffield United, and they got Patrick Bamford signed permanently. I think a year and a half deal. I think, or maybe was it 2? I think it was a year and a half, 18-month deal or something like that. Good for good move for them. I think there's a handful of clubs that sounded like they were interested. We might have been. I don't know if we were for sure or not, but there's a little bit of talk about it. But and then Kijana Hoover, right back from Wolves. What do you think of that move?
I have seen him, and he's actually. I think he's a decent player. I do question his defensive capabilities. I think he's very good going forward, like a lot of wing backs are these days. But I do question his defensive capabilities. But I think he's a decent loan. So I think the Sheffield business is more to do with who goes out the opposite way, really, at the moment.
Yeah, gotcha. It'll be interesting there because we've been linked with Hammer, and then you see that Harrison Burrows linked with a move. That surprised me.
Well, they rejected it, didn't they? They rejected the bid.
Did they reject the move? I didn't. I hadn't saw that.
I think it was a Turkish club, wasn't it? Bid something. Bid. I think it was like 4.5 million or so, 5 million quid. And I think the rumours are that Sheffield United turned around and went, no chance. It's got to be nearer 8 to 10 or something like that. And that's kind of where it's gone. I did see you guys talking about Gus Harmer. Did make me laugh.
Yeah. I don't know that
he's not staying in the Championship.
I don't think so either. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I think Sevilla apparently are preparing a bid for him today or something. I read somewhere. Yeah.
All right. Sheffield Wednesday. They got Jaden Heskin on loan, free loan. Murphy Cooper in on a free loan. Nathan Redmond, they were able to sign. Liam Cooper, all signed in. They're just doing whatever they can get to get some bodies in, I think. Get through the rest of the season. Saw there's a link with I think it was Millwall was linked with Bannon, yeah.
And Stoke.
Or Stoke too, really. I didn't see that. Wow, that's wild. It's kind of odd to go now, I guess, but I don't know if he'd want to or not.
I don't know. It's I suppose it is a weird one, really, because you kind of are just associating him with Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
But part of me kind of wonders whether, with new owners coming in and everything, does he kind of look at it and think next season in League One with probably a big rebuild and that, is there going to be a place for him? I mean, he's only under contract, I think, for this season. So I don't know.
I guess so to me, if he's out of contract, I mean, why not just ride it out to the end of the contract and then maybe get yourself a better deal?
Possibly, but I don't think a better deal is on his career mind. I think for him at his age now, it's more about enjoying his football.
Playing. Yeah.
And I think, as somebody said, with Millwall and Stoke both being interested, I think it was a Sheffield Wednesday fan sort of said, if you're Barry Bannon, is the opportunity to go and chase one more promotion before you call it a day too big of an opportunity to turn down? Because I mean, let's face it. I mean, where's the not motivation, but what's he going to gain from staying at Sheffield? He's not a young player rebuilding, ready for next season and stuff. Would you begrudge him a move to somebody to go and chase a playoff dream? I don't know. I don't like the guy because of the obvious reasons, but he doesn't owe Sheffield Wednesday anything.
I didn't even realize I didn't have this popped up so everybody could see. I was sitting here, I just had it up on my page and was scrolling through it. Okay, Southampton. They got in Daniel Peretz on loan from Bayern Munich as a goalkeeper. I assume to be their number one. I don't know if is that.
Yeah, because they've let Basumu go to Stoke, haven't they?
Yeah.
Who I think had been playing as their number one.
Gotcha. And then they signed Oriol Ramio. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was a free transfer that came in before Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an ex Southampton. He was a Romeo. He's ex Chelsea, but he signed for Southampton back in the Premier League years. So he played for a number of years for them in the Premier League. Decent defensive midfielder back in his day, but yeah, his day's long gone.
And then of course they sold Ronnie Edwards to QPR. Damian Downs went out on loan to Hamburg, and as you said, Bazunu went to Stoke on loan. So
yeah, because the Stoke goalkeeper had a season-ending injury, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then he's been out, and they've not allowed a goal since he's been hurt. And I thought he was one of the best goalkeepers in the. You know what I mean? You think you start conceding when you lose the best goalkeeper in the championship, but apparently not. Okay, and here's Stoke. There's Gavin Bazunu on loan from Southend, as we just talked about. And then they recalled Tommy Simkin from Leyton Orient. I saw that. I assume they'll probably send him back out. Maybe. I don't know if they have any. I don't know what their backup situation is as far as their goalkeepers. Maybe they won't. But we'll see how that goes. Let's move on down. Swansea signed Joe Ward. I think that's all they've done. 36-year-old right back.
They are getting rid of a loan player that they've currently got. He's going to be sent back, which is Manuel Benson, who's on loan from Burnley.
Okay.
He's. I was really surprised they actually had him because he was one of the best players in the Championship when Burnley got promoted under Vincent Kompany some years back. And I was kind of shocked to see he was at Swansea and not playing, because it was like, I remember him a few years ago. He just tore this league to pieces out wide. Played wide right, cut inside on that left foot, and absolutely, got a hammer of a left foot. So surprised by that.
Oh, shoot. Okay, Watford haven't done anything as of yet. West Brom not done anything as of yet. Wrexham haven't done anything as of yet.
You recall Paul Mullen?
Well, I don't even think we recalled him. I think they sent him back. So we got Paul Mullen back, and apparently Callum Edwards and Tom Kelly too. And I guess the big news for us so far in this window has been signing the two guys. We signed Max to a long-term deal. Signed Matty James today, announced that today, signed him to another year. So he's on through next season. And I'm pretty happy with both of those. And then, of course, James McLean left the other day, back to Derry City. So
did you hear me on Ken's Ring and Rant yesterday?
I did not. I did not hear. What'd you say? What'd you do?
I posed him the question, regards Max.
Mhm.
I said, don't you find it all rather convenient, all this talk and the linkage with Villa, which I think everyone kind of said, I can't see it in a million years,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden getting a new contract. Is that just me being a bit seeing the cynical side of football? But does that sound like maybe somebody's agent was, shall we say, putting a few stories out there to strengthen one's bargaining position when it came to renegotiating a new contract?
I can understand why you would think that. I also don't think that's true. I think it was just a load of shit. I
Mm,
think I think it was just a some. He's the thing is there have been people talking about Aston Villa buying Max since League Two,
mm,
so it's like been this ongoing thing, and I think we were. I mean, I think he had 18 months left on his deal, so it was
mm,
kind of like time we're going to be signing him up to a new deal anyway, here soon. So yeah, I think the timing just happened to be what it was. I could be wrong. You never know. Could be. Yeah, it could have been, but I don't think you needed to. Let's be
yeah,
honest. I
just
think we pay good money.
mm,
It's not like we're going to short shaft him, and I think he wanted to be here. You know what I mean? I think he was always going to want to be here. So I don't think you would need the leverage. I wouldn't think.
mm. I just to me it just felt a little bit too coincidental, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I know
maybe.
that I know the links, and I think everyone was kind of the same opinion. It was just like, Villa, really, what
Yeah.
don't didn't make sense in a way. Um, but it's just one of those. I just kind of looked at it from a like a cynical side of a football fan, just going, well,
Yeah.
they're a side which could pay big money. They're a European
Hmm.
qualifying. They're in the
Yeah.
top four. It's all
Yeah.
one of those where if you were the football agent sat in front of the Wrexham power brokers and saying my client demands this much, and you're saying, well, actually, we think he's deserving, but not of
Yeah.
that, and you can turn around and say, well, hold on a minute, there's a certain club in the Premier League which are showing interest, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Maybe just me, but it just felt a bit that way inclined for me.
Yeah. All right. And then I guess I think we're probably last on the list.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think you are.
that's it. All right. So, that's enough of that. Um, I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to hit on today? Is Honda Eckert gonna get fired if they lose tomorrow?
Uh, I did put it in chat cheekily, and I mentioned it yesterday with Ken, that there comes a point where you know he's got to be under a little bit of pressure because they have got to get top six minimum, haven't they? Realistically, that with the squad and the player and everything,
I mean, they got to
irrespective.
be close. I mean, they can't be where they're at now.
No, I mean, I'll be honest. I think put in the notes, didn't I? What is success? What is for me? It's like if you don't finish top six with that squad, it's a failure. No, there's no other ways about it. It's failure.
Hmm.
Um, and I think obviously with how well he did when he was interim, I just wonder there comes a point where not now, but in 5 games time, when say there's like 15 games remaining, 14 games remaining,
Hmm.
if they're still sat down in 15th and 9, 10 points off the playoffs, um, you kind of start to think, do they do something stupid like bullet him and just bring in just to try and get, just to jolt something and maybe go on a run because they've got the players to do something silly?
Hmm.
Because it gets to the point where you leave it any longer, there's no point.
Yeah.
You've missed the boat in that regard. So yeah, it's just a surprise, isn't it? I'm just really surprised with Southampton that when you look at them week in, week out, and you look at the team, you just think, how are they not performing consistently?
Yeah. I don't know. It's wild. Um, there were a couple messages from earlier that we starred, so we can pull those up. The one we kind of Mehmeti, we've already covered that. Um, And then Matt Al said, it's this stage of the season. I wish we'd done some business. We've let players go and no replacements. I think the problem is we've got too many players. So I think we needed to get some players gone, and we still got a few more to get gone. I think we've got to move at least 3 more. If I'm remembering right, I think we need to get 3 more gone just to get to the 25. You know what I mean? And then if you're wanting to bring anybody in, you realistically want to move more on. So, but I do think we've got a handful of loans that are going to happen. It'll be interesting to see what Parky ends up doing with the squad and where it ends up at the end. I could see us bringing in 2 though. I don't know if we'll do 3. I'm starting to think maybe we don't do 3, but 2 I think is probably realistic. But apparently the our I don't know what his role is. Michael crap, what's his name? Chat, help me. Michael whatever. Yeah, Williamson. Michael Williamson. He's our CEO or whatever he is, whatever his position is. Apparently at the game this weekend he was doing some stuff in some of the suites and was talking to people, and apparently kind of was telling everybody that into the window was when we'll make our moves, which is pretty common for us. It's kind of what Parky, especially in the January window. I think somebody looked it up, and the earliest since Parky's come in, the earliest we've bought anybody in the January window was like the 24th or something like that. So it's always late. He always leaves it late before he makes a move.
Yeah, it's always a gamble leaving it late. It's one of those sometimes you can pick up some really good
deals,
but you also can potentially leave yourselves missing out. I know we're linked to a striker, which by the sounds of things, he's coming in, which amazes me. We've managed to get him, but he was one that I kind of half expected that to go right to the end of the window, because it's like, selling club will have a bit of a bidding war, drive up prices, that sort of thing. But no, I never like leaving business to the end of the window. We've done it in recent years, and it just sometimes comes across as, you just kind of wonder sometimes, is you're never sure, but you kind of sit there and go, was that really a panicky one, or was that really lined up in weeks? It's like, I mean, I remember when we signed Jack Robinson, he said he heard about the deal 2 days before the deadline. It's just like, that's clearly not a well planned move, is it? That's a, oh crap, we need a left footed centre back. Who can we get? So I'll be interested to see what you guys do, because I know Parkinson doesn't particularly like the loan market too much, which is the one that tends to get tapped into in this window.
Yeah, we'll see. I was surprised that we did Kabore on loan, just because he doesn't like to do loans. But maybe that was the only way they could get that deal going. But I mean, it sounds like he's going to be he'll be for sale or available on a permanent in the summer, with City wanting to get some guys off their books for the summer. So we'll see. I guess we'll see how he does, and if they decide to keep him. I think he's a good player. He's definitely got good pace. Something we don't have a lot of. We need more of it. So yeah, we'll see. See how that one goes. Is there anything else we want to hit on? We've done 2 hours.
I think we're done.
I think we're done too. All right. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Matt Al, you're the man. Thanks for hopping in, buddy. He's telling us all about Cody and how much money he's on. I really hope to God he's not actually on that much money. But I mean, Jesus. I'm not even going to pull it up. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming in. And I guess, on that bombshell, we'll see you guys on the next one. Hey, all 3 tomorrow, game day. So we got build-up show. I'm sure Ken and Patty will probably be on that, depending on how Patty's feeling. Patty had to hop out a little earlier today because he wasn't feeling real great. So hope Patty gets better. But Ken will definitely be on the pregame show. Of course, Josh will do the watch along, and then we'll have Rextra time after. Depending on Patty, maybe I'll cover that for him if we need me to. If I'm home in time, we might have to push it a little bit later because I get home a little later right now. And then I'm sure Josh will do his what's he call it, the end of the end of the day show, the Wrexham reaction. That's what it is. The Wrexham reaction show tomorrow. So you get the full slate of shows tomorrow, and then of course. I assume Ken will probably do Wednesday the footy tip show, and then we'll be back for tactical fortitude on Thursday, and then game again Saturday. So on that bombshell, we will see everybody soon.